I wanted to roughly just discuss my Dallas Cowboys. And you're probably saying, why in God's name are we sitting here talking about a team who is currently not in the playoffs, not even close to being in the playoffs? Look, y'all know me, okay? I'm going to talk about my Cowboys, if you like it or not. They are my favorite team. I have a lot to say about them on a weekly basis, so y'all can kick rocks. But we're going to talk about the Cowboys. Primarily, I want to talk about them because of their matchup on Sunday, and their season is officially over. How well did the season go for Dallas? Where do I even start? I talked about it on the show when I was making my practice run for my little equipment here. I made a video about Matt Eberflus. Obviously, we're going to everything points to the defense. Matt Eberflus in the defense, defensively, they've been atrocious all year. We're not even going to get on the statistics because I might get depressed having to talk about it. But yes, the defense has been absolutely atrocious all year. And without a shadow of a doubt, once this season concluded, you come to the realization that you have to form some type of identity defensively. Shoddy, you got to give credit to him. I felt like, despite the noise of the fan base, they have been better than expected. When we talk about identity, Brian Schottenheimer, he made the emphasis this season, like, yeah, we are going to run the football. He did that with Javonte Williams. There are multiple games where him, Malik Davis, both of them were roughly averaging 5 yards a carry, 4 yards a carry. Like, Javonte Williams has been a godsend at the running back position, a position that ever since we lost Tony Pollard has not been good. Rico Dowdle and that running back core they had last year, not the greatest, even though he lit it up this year with Carolina. But that has been a focus because that's Mike McCarthy making Dak throw the ball too much. We know Dak has always been at his best when he's had an established run game, and it has showed up this season. Dak Prescott, I think, this is just me. This is a very unbiased take. I think this season, this has been one of Dak Prescott's best years. Without a shadow of a doubt. If we go back to his rookie season, his MVP season back in 2023, the year they choked in the playoffs, 2 seed or 3 seed, and you lose to I think they were the 2 seed. If you 2 seed and you choke it to the Packers. Oh, Lord, I want to cry just thinking about it. But that season as well, just Dak Prescott was phenomenal all season. We talked about it in the Matt Eberflus video. It was pretty shocking. A guy like Dak Prescott, who is this podium guy, he's this class act quarterback. He went live, cameras rolling, post-game interview and said, you know what? Really can't point my play to the reason why we are where we are at right now on the outside looking in to the playoffs. That was absolutely shocking to hear from a guy like Dak Prescott, who has always been the guy on the podium who says the right things. He never says the wrong things, but he was very vocal about that component of the Dallas Cowboys. He felt like he played very well, and rightfully so he did. And he can't point to his play as the reason why the Cowboys were where they are at this season. I have to just pretty much tip my cap to Dak. That was absolutely phenomenal for him to actually say something that was pretty controversial for once. I loved it, Dak. I want more of that. But before I even get more on a high horse here, defensively, they were pretty bad. So that's a pretty bad comment for your star quarterback to say that about your defense. If I'm Quinnen Williams, and granted, they probably know this already, but I would have been just a little bit offended. Like, dang, Dak, you wanna talk about us like that? But there's a whole lot going on with the Matt Eberflus thing. Everybody was trying to stir up Cowboys media. They're trying to stir up the pot a little bit when the Dallas Cowboys posted on their social media team, posted a quote that Jerry Jones said about Matt Eberflus exiting from being the defensive coordinator, and it showed pretty much all the Dallas Cowboys players defensively and offensively liking the post. It was a little messy, but this has been the worst defense in the league. Again, statistically, we're not going to get into it. They need to draft two studs with this draft pick. They got to. They need players everywhere. They need a corner, need a safety, need an edge rusher, and a linebacker. Defensive tackle, obviously, is set. It's pretty weird and ironic how for years we've complained about the Dallas Cowboys not having the defensive tackles. And when they made the trade for Quinnen Williams, it's kind of went backwards. Before the Quinnen Williams trade, it's like, okay, our focus is we don't have the defensive tackles. And now it might have been that the defensive tackles were so bad that when you actually get the defensive tackles, you actually realize just how bad you are everywhere else. You need a cornerback. You need a linebacker. You need a safety. You need everything. And, once for the next couple of months, we're going to talk about draft picks and who I would like and things of that nature. But obviously, as of right now, my favorite player, without a shadow of a doubt right now for Dallas draft with one of their picks is Caleb Downs. He's a safety. You can put him anywhere. You can make him play slot. He's a guy you can put anywhere. Dallas currently has the 12th pick. Safeties, they've never went in the top 10 historically. But they are saying that this guy's that talented, and that might be an exception this season. I'm not saying that gladly. Hopefully, I want Caleb Downs to slip a lot in the upcoming draft. But that's a component there. I think that'll get their defense better. I think they need to draft. I don't think corner. I think corners is a position that they can get at a latter round. I just think edge rush is just super important. Jadeveon Clowney was your best edge rusher. He was the best player on the field on Sunday in Week 18. That's pretty bad. Now, Donovan Ezeraku, we thought he was going to be that big edge guy that we were going to need. He had the most sacks in the FBS his final year, but he just hasn't been able to finish. That is something that I'm very much looking forward to guys like Jadeveon Clowney, getting in the offseason with Quinnen Williams and him being able to work with his pass rush and getting the ability to be able to finish. That is something that I'm looking forward to in the offseason. But you need a guy like a David Bailey or Reuben Bain. Who knows if those guys are going to be available. The draft season is going to be exciting for the Cowboys because this is going to be the first time that they've had multiple first-round picks in a draft that I can't even remember the last time they've had multiple first-round picks in a draft. So they just need picks everywhere. Offensively, outside of Dak Prescott, we got to give credit again. Javonte Williams had over 1,000 yards. Pickens had the best year of his career. He had 1,400 yards. He's a Pro Bowler, and he's more than likely going to make an All-Pro. Dak, I think, could make an All-Pro as well. Ceedee Lamb, he's another guy that you think about. He had a quiet another 1,000-yard season. I think he broke a record or something like that with Michael Irvin. So he's another player. He's been phenomenal. But Dallas has got a bright future. Now, Jerry Jones and them had a press conference the other day. I'm going to talk about that in a later date. I got to actually watch it, but obviously there was a whole lot of hoopla about that. So we'll discuss that at some point. Yeah. How well did the season go for Dallas? Ultimately, we can say how do I put this? I think that we can really say in some people's eyes, they underperformed. But I remember going into this season, I honestly did not have high expectations. I did when Micah was on the team, but ever since when they made the Micah trade, I just really said to myself, I do not see a situation where this team makes the playoffs. You just look across the board defensively. They just didn't have the guys. And it showed. It really showed this season. And even after the trade, I was not one of those on that train that was saying that Dallas could make a run and make the playoffs. I was still questioning. Now, in the thought in my mind, fan in me, I was like, the bias fan at times, I was like, okay, maybe this is probably doable. But still, in the back of my mind, I was telling myself, man, there's just no way. That is just a daunting task, tough hill to climb. And the Cowboys, the season probably didn't go as planned for Jerry Jones and company, but I can say this. I can really definitively say that I feel like the Dallas Cowboys have a bright future. The future is bright. It just depends on if Jerry Jones is really going to spend the money in free agency like he needs to. How are they going to maneuver those picks? I think they need to trade back that last pick up a second or third round pick because they currently don't have one. Those second and third round picks are really crucial, specifically in this draft because it's loaded with talent defensively. You would like a second or third round pick to get that cornerback that might slip. A guy like Gerard McCoy, he tore his ACL. He's a guy you can get with a second round pick. I wouldn't want him with a first round pick, but you could probably get a guy like that in the second round. Like there's a lot of talent that you're going to want to get in the second and third round. So I want to see them trade back, get an extra pick. And Jerry Jones even said, we're drafting defensive guys with those two picks. So, however you take it, I think the Cowboys season pretty much ended up how I thought it would be. 7-win season again. I think they had 7 or 6 wins last year, one or the two. And the Dallas Cowboys season has come to an end. Super fast season.